paying close attention. The Republican presidential candidates are trying to differentiate themselves as they head south for primaries in Mississippi and Alabama. Frontrunner Mitt Romney has a significant lead in the delegate count, but Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich insist there are still anti-Romney votes to be had. So how will the GOP unite behind a single nominee? Joining me now, political commentator Dana Loesch and chief political correspondent for Politic 365, Jason Johson. Thank you both so much.
Glad to be here.
It's good to have you here. Okay, let's talk about Mr. Romney first. We know he's ahead, but he's kind of clawing his way there. Santorum, he still has some steam. We know that. Will the GOP, let me ask you this, Dana, first. Will the GOP have a clear winner going into this nomination, in your opinion?
I say, because this particular primary cycle has been so odd. It's been a lot more lethargic than 2008. I mean, when you consider Super Tuesday in 2008, that Super Tuesday really was super. There were like 20, 21 different contests all around the country, as opposed to 2012 now, where we only had 10 contests on Super Tuesday. And usually, if you look at it, we picked a candidate before March. That's obviously not going to happen right now. I think it's really going to drag into summer before we start to see someone emerging as the front runner, because Newt Gingrich has vowed to go all the way to Tampa, and he's pretty good to his word, so he most likely will. And the RNC has him in second place with the delegate count, which is another topic entirely. But it's so tough to say. I think it's going to go all the way to August. I really do.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because when we look in the rearview mirror, and you mentioned 2008, I mean, this worked in the last election to some degree. There was some ping-ponging back and forth between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. I want to ask you, Jason, does this uncertainty keep momentum high and help the GOP?
Look, it doesn't help the GOP in this particular year. And this has really been strange. Usually, when you have a primary that goes this long, they're slamming the incumbent. People look at the incumbent less. But it seems like the longer this primary goes on, the more people don't like Mitt Romney, the more people don't like Rick Santorum. So this is a kind of a strange race. I think the best thing for the Republicans is to hope that somehow out of this, Mitt Romney can show that the bad reputation that he's established throughout this campaign, that he's cold and that he's distant, he doesn't understand regular people, can somehow be done away with before the fall. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
All right, Dana, you want to go ahead and take that? I want your opinion on that, especially the whole anti-Romney thing. How strong is it, and can he overcome it?
Well, I myself, full disclosure, I'm kind of a non-Romney sort of person. However, you know, being that I'm an independent conservative, I'll solidify behind a Republican nominee. But I have questions about Romney's record myself, and I realize, and I hope that a lot of other grassroots folks realize, that you're not going to be able to get this. We're not electing the Messiah, we're electing the president, and I hope that grassroots voters realize that. None of these cats have perfect records. Not a single one of them do. Every single one of them has something or several things that draw questions and that give everybody hesitation. But looking into it, getting into it further, Romney he's not courted grassroots voters. He hasn't, and that was part of his campaign strategy, was to limit actually his media access to him. And also, he didn't go to Tea Party rallies. He didn't meet with Tea Partiers around the country. He really wasn't courting grassroots conservatives. Now he's going to have to, because Santorum and Gingrich are having a grudge match for the southern states. Romney's going to need the southern states to establish himself as the definitive leader. Now he's got to change up his strategy mid-game. So interesting.
Okay, and one quick last question for you, Jason. What does the GOP need to get behind one person, in your opinion?
Look, what they need is for somebody like Newt Gingrich to say, look, I have no chance and I'm only in this race for revenge, so I need to stop. They need somebody like Rick Santorum to recognize that there's no way with his anti-choice attitudes and his beliefs that he's going to become president of the United States. And they need to all back down and recognize Mitt Romney's got the most money, the most skills, and the best chance to beat Barack Obama. But egos, history, and conservatism are not necessarily bonding together for them to rally behind one candidate, and I think that's one of the reasons Mitt's going to end up so weak.
Oh, my goodness. All righty. Jason Johson and Dana Loesch, thank you both so much for your input. It means a lot to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. A deputy who was tackled by a